Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Happiness Unlocked, where I make videos centered on love, mental wellness, and success. And today we're going to be discussing self-care and coping mechanisms for social justice workers and activists. So right now, we are in the middle of history and a movement, and that is something that is near and dear to my soul. And it is a part of my life's work as well. So we're going to get into the mental health impacts of doing social justice work. We often talk about the protesting, the equity work, the social justice campaigns, and the people who are carrying them out. But we often don't talk about how they're being impacted by the work that they do. So more specifically, we're going to be talking about activism fatigue and social justice burnout. And so burnout is a term that's typically used to describe someone who's physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted from work. And so we have to keep in mind that social justice workers don't only do this because they're passionate about social justice, equality, equity, civil rights, that sorts of thing, but it is actually their work, whether they're being paid for it or not. So social justice workers often have to disengage from their work because of the physical and emotional exhaustion that they experience as a result of their work. And I think that is an important point to understand, because if we are not taking care of ourselves and working under conditions that's going to mentally and physically exhaust us, what's going to happen is we will have to disengage, even if it's even if it's temporarily. We'll have to stop doing our work. And why is that dangerous? That's dangerous for a couple of reasons. The first is that if multiple people and leaders are having to disengage from their work, either long term or short term, then we are no longer being able to move forward the work. And I think sometimes we see that happen is that people go all in and then they disappear. And we're like, what happened? And if that's happening on a large scale across the masses, that may lead to an end to a movement that really should continue. Another reason may be a little more obvious, and that's just that we don't want to see anyone experience burnout and the impacts of being in a mental health situation that impedes them from enjoying the things in life that they enjoy, doing the work and walking in their calling. And so let's discuss what burnout looks like and how it manifests in your body. The first is lethargy. You're just extremely tired, sometimes slow to process things. You might be having a difficulty participating in the things that you enjoy in life. You might start to feel helpless or hopeless, and maybe feel like you're spinning into a sort of despair. And you might have feelings of shame or guilt for not being able to enact the change that you hope to see in the world. And so sometimes we have that frustration and that fuels us to do more. But when it turns into guilt and shame, that can start to make us feel depressed and lead to us feeling more hopeless and helpless, even though we're doing important work. So we might start to lose sight of the fact that social justice work is more of a marathon than it is a race, and we want things to change, as quickly as possible for the right reasons. But if we're moving so fast that we're not taking care of ourselves, then we will burn out and not be able to participate in the change that we want to see in the world, and that would be unfortunate. These feelings of hopelessness can also lead to conflict within the community of other social justice workers. So if you're part of a collective or some other group, when multiple people start to feel hopeless and that they can't enact change, they can become particularly sensitive about the social justice topics and begin to be in conflict with their counterparts. And that can break up a collective from the inside and really stop them from making major impacts on our world and our society. How do we then avoid social justice or activist burnout? And the simple answer is self-care, but I'm going to break it down a little further because I think there are conflicting ideas about what self-care means. In our society, self-care has become commercialized and almost turned into a selling point. Self-care really means taking the time out of your day, your week, your month to make sure that you are okay, that you're mentally okay, that you're physically okay, that your emotions are being taken care of. So the things that I'm going to introduce might run contrary to the popular belief of what self-care is. So we're going to jump right in. My first suggestion for anyone participating in social justice work is to be still. Now, what do I mean by that? What I'm not suggesting is that you disengage from your social justice work. No, please don't. We need you. We need you and we appreciate you. What I mean by being still is to take a moment in silence for yourself to process and evaluate and self-reflect on what it is that you are feeling, what it is that you need. And this is the most important step for social justice activists or anyone who's really looking to start to take better care of themselves. So what I'm suggesting here is that you hold space for yourself and that you enact three components: that you feel, you rest, and you think about what it is that you need. The second thing that we can do to prevent social justice burnout or activist burnout is disconnecting from media. That includes social media. I know, I think at this point, if you've watched some of my other videos, you might think that I'm anti-phone, but I'm not. I promise you. I just know that we have a 24-hour newsreel, and a lot of it is unfounded. A lot of it is unfounded, y'all. A lot of it is just not real, or it's being slated in a way that is going to ignite anxiety and additional feelings of frustration, concern, and exhaustion and anger and all the other human emotions that we can feel that we may not want to waddle in for too long. So I would say that it's important to set boundaries for how much news we're going to digest and how much we're going to engage on social media. The number of arguments and just back and forth that I have seen Wow, it's just been so much, and has been so hard for me not to engage because I'm an educator, and I work in social justice equity for Black students in higher education, and so I'm not speaking from the outside. I'm in this. I really do this work every single day, and so when I see ignorant posts and bigoted posts on social media, my first mind is like, engage, engage. My alerts are going off. But what I found is that it's a waste of my energy. And I'm not saying that it's a waste of yours, but for me, it is. Most people on social media aren't there to learn. A lot of people are using it because it's their platform to speak out and say what is on their mind. And yeah, sometimes it comes out the people that you've known all of your life is in fact a racist, or in fact believe some things that run completely contrary to what you believe. I have put a boundary in place where I only engage two ops, oppressor, opposition, whatever we want to call it, people who I disagree with. I only engage a maximum of 2 a day. And it's been beautiful because when I want to say something or someone's trying to engage me, I literally say, I'm sorry, but you are number 4 on the wait list, and I actually can't engage you now because I met my max for the day. Maybe I'll get to you someday, maybe I won't. And I just leave it at that and move on about my day. I would encourage you to try it out. Maybe your maximum is 1, maybe your maximum is 0, and maybe your maximum is 10. But set a boundary for yourself so you're not being burnt out with the news and social media. So the next thing that I'm going to suggest is that you intentionally identify something that brings you joy and participate in that. Sometimes we start to feel shame and guilt for actually being able to enjoy ourselves. And I ask that you not. I ask that you actually intentionally disengage when you're at home and do something that makes you happy. But it's okay to feel joy, social justice workers. I remember a time, short side note, when I was an undergrad, and as an undergrad, I studied sociology and Pan-African studies. And one particular semester, I had 16 units of Pan-African studies classes that, absolutely changed my life. But I was, in BSU, and I was in Harambe, and I was starting a research group with a group of ladies, and I was taking all of those classes that was pulling on my heartstrings to walk in my calling, and I got burned out, y'all. I was like, I couldn't find joy in anything. I was just mad. I was just mad, y'all, for like a good part of the semester, and it really started to impact me. And so I had to intentionally say, okay, at some point I need to like go out with friends and, go to the club or whatever, since that was during those days, and look for the happy part of things, the happy things that are still available to me. So that's just a little funny story that I like to share, and I share it often with my students when we're talking about this situation. The next thing that I'm going to suggest is that you journal. Y'all heard me say it before. I'm going to keep saying it, even at the risk of being repetitive, because it's something that I truly believe in. And the whole point of journaling is to unlock some clarity in your life about how you're feeling while you're doing the work. It can help to continue to inspire you, because sometimes when we're in the middle of equity work, we can lose sight of why we started in the first place, especially when that burnout is starting to creep in. We can say, we might be on the verge of saying, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And then we go to our journal and we remember why we're even doing the work. Every week, I'll be posting a video centered on love, success, and mental wellness to help you unlock your happy life. I really enjoy you. Let me know what you think in the comments below and take care of yourself as best as you can. Bye.